Hello, everyone. So, we already reviewed episode 1 and 2 of Earthrise here on the channel, and in doing so, we had to talk about character designs, first impressions, music, animation style, etc., etc. We had to go into great detail because it's a brand new series. There's a lot to think about and cover, but we're going to actually talk about the remaining episodes much more smoothly, much more quickly, because now we can just focus on episode beats, story impact, as well as anything new that might pop up here and there. So we're going to be talking about episode 3 and 4 today, starting with episode 3, Moving In, for you people who really like your puns. So this is basically an establishment of Bumblebee's role in this series as a teacher to the Terrans and his inability to adjust to that role. So in doing this, we do get some of what makes Bumblebee who he is. He is still very much trying to live up to Optimus Prime. Like, he is taking this role very seriously. He is very proud to actually have this mission. He is not really adept at teaching what are essentially newborns. They are pretty much just, they want to play. They feel like they've already got everything handled because, hey, we've transformed. We know how to be Transformers. Not quite about that. We have a lot. It's a lot of Bumblebee trying to adjust to a new situation. Personality-wise, we can feel out Bumblebee pretty well here. He does have he's not being forced into a leadership role. You know, this isn't like real leadership here. You know, this is mentorship. A little bit different. So he's not quite thrust into the same role he was during, like, RID 2015, which, honestly, like, doesn't really suit Bumblebee. I don't feel like being, like, shoved into a leadership role really suits him. I feel like, you know, being, like, a promising warrior that's still kind of down to earth and, like, interacting with humans kind of thing, somewhere where he lives. They do mention that, yeah, he is the scout of the team. So, like, he's not, like, you know, it's not like the movie verse where Bumblebee is like the brutal killer warrior. It's a little more mellow than that. But he's not. It's not a bad take on Bumblebee. He is somewhere in the middle of where his depictions have been traditionally, which, again, like a lot of characters in the show, kind of sits him in a spot that we really haven't seen him in before. I mean, I really like Bumblebee in this show. Like, he doesn't get annoying. He doesn't feel like he's overexposed yet. They're still being very cagey about why he was in hiding. That part has not really been explained. And spoiler alert, it's not explained so far in this series. But it's a nice little beat just to give me something more interesting, to be a little bit more interested in Bumblebee throughout the series. So, in trying to teach Twitch and Thrash how to be Transformers, everything kind of goes awry. It starts with a running gag of trying to call in for backup as far as, like, how do I teach these kids who are not listening to me? Oh, classic tropes of the new teacher. And he can't get a hold of Optimus. And the first one, he gets a hold of Megatron. And there's nothing more surreal to me in Transformers than watching Bumblebee actively seek leadership advice from Megatron. You might as well ask about loyalty from Starscream. And to have Megatron just casually talk about how he would apparently twist the heads off of his dissenters. Yeah, this is a different Megatron. This is a very different Megatron. Yeah, and the gag continues. He talks to Elita 1-2, who he talks to Elita 1-2. It's a pretty typical setup for a situation like this, as far as, like, TV and cartoons go. Every advice he gets is out of line, and nothing really works until he finds his own way of doing things. So yeah, no one's methods but his own works, and that's the thing. And Optimus does, and he even gets Optimus's voicemail. They do, like, that tired old gag too. But you know what? It makes for a fun little running gag for Bumblebee. It blew up at Family Game Night. So when you're trying to breed cooperation in people, the last thing you really want to do is put them in a competitive situation. That will always go wrong. Even if it's a friendly competitive situation, it's not going to breed cooperation whatsoever. It's going to be a negative reaction. And yeah, like this just kind of made everything blow up, especially with Twitch, who really does not like the pressure that Bumblebee puts on her. So we do find out in this episode that the Terrans, despite being Transformers, aren't naturally gifted in some of the things they do. They can't even really transform at will. They can do so instinctually, but to do so at their own personal command, that is actually difficult for them, which is interesting to see. Like, we don't really get to see, like, the infancy of a Transformer like this. You know, in Beast Wars, we got to see protoforms get ignited, but it was implied that that wasn't for the first time, that they're just kind of like in, I don't know, long-term sleep or hibernation for the journey, that kind of thing, because they pretty much were fully formed, functioning, and operational right out of the box. You know, they could go right into combat and be really good at combat. This is different. Like I said, what I love about the show, different things. This is truly a newborn Transformer, which the only time we've really seen that in the past was IDW 2.0 with Rubble. And that was just kind of as a perspective character who then got killed off because we're going to manipulate your emotions like that. Fortunately, nothing like that in this series. Yet. But I mean, it's a good way of getting Twitch's characterization off. She is just stressed, if anything. And then there's Fluffy Ears. So the secondary focus of this episode was basically this adorable little cow that has essentially become the pet of Twitch. Essentially, like, Twitch is just like enamored with this little cow. I think it also pointed out something unique, that Transformers don't necessarily understand organic growth because they're robots. You know, they're the way they're built, and that's pretty much how they are, unless they want to rebuild themselves at some point. They don't have like a natural growth period. So that was kind of an interesting thing to point out, even if they didn't focus on it. And yeah, like, the episode just kind of revolved, like, they just kept hitting back on, Fluffy Ears until Twitch got stuck in drone mode and caused a stampede, like you do. So that led us to something that I feel like is the downfall of the episode. This scene. So during the stampede, and they're trying to like, they finally got some kind of control over their alt modes. So now they're like herding the cattle back into the fence. If you've played Twilight Princess and that farming game to get you settled in with how to actually play the game, that's what it felt like. It felt like that scene. The culmination of that is finding Fluffy Ears stuck to a railroad track. And when Twitch gets the cow out of the track, finds herself stuck to the track. And, yeah, of course, there's a train coming. I found this really contrived. I'm sorry. This was really contrived. I can believe that an animal could get in a panic, could get stuck in a human-made thing they don't naturally understand. Okay, fine. This is a complex robot that we've seen in this episode can calculate, you know, lots of different possibilities at once, lots of different solutions. And the fact that Twitch just got stuck is just, really? She just got stuck. Like she just stood on the rail exactly right so that the front of her foot and her heel gets stuck on it. I'm sorry. I know it's the third act. They had to add some kind of drama in because this is a really low stakes episode. This is just kind of get to know the character episode. But man, this kind of just like, this was a facepalm thing. This just kind of made me go, really? That's what you went to? Really? So yeah, the ending is not great. I like the character work here, but the ending is not great. Oh, by the way, speaking of character work, we need to look in on Alex, who is now fanboying amazingly. He is very much what I would be in this situation. Bumblebee, can you autograph all of this merchandise I have ever owned of you? Which is hilarious because he does it with the same plasma cannon he does everything else with. So it's a good establishment episode. Like I said, the plot is... It's not so much the plot you need to worry about. The plot really is Bumblebee. But that B plot with Twitch, that falls apart in that finale. So that's an unfortunate thing. But like I said, it's a good establishment episode. So we'll give it credit for that. So moving on. Episode 4, House Rules. And again, we're kind of establishing the family dynamic. I think this is the first episode where I really started noticing that they refer to each other as a family. The Terrans, the bots, refer to they refer to Robbie and Mo as brother and sister. They refer to the parents as mom and dad. It's an interesting thing to see a Transformer refer to a human woman as mom. But it does happen in this show. And again, unique situations. Speaking of unique situations, my neighbor's dog's barking. My dog's now barking. Okay, that's going to start the whole neighborhood up. Lovely. So again, this is more establishment episode. And we're early in the series. So this is kind of to be expected. And we're going to be seeing, a lot of different dynamics going on. We're going to be seeing like how they interact as a family. And because we are dealing with half a natural family and half found family, we're going to be seeing, it's going to be a little bit weird. But that's, again, a good thing in this show. So once Mom lays down the law about how this family works and the rules of the house, which now include no Transformers in the house, we turn this into a episode where let's talk about the B plot first. Because Twitch and Robbie are actually kind of on board with following the rules and after everyone gets grounded, actually doing what it takes to get back in the good graces of Mom, which is do the chores. And it's a fun little side plot because Twitch gets way too into this on some like hypothetical reward that is only stated halfway through, but it's a competitive episode for those two in the background of the real plot. It's a fun little diversion, and it's cool. It's fun to see the two siblings, I guess, competing with each other here over the old-fashioned gold sticker stars. By the way, the real plot of the episode is basically Mo and Thrash finally getting some alone time. So, it is made clear that like everyone in this unit is bonded to each other, but it really is like Robbie is the partner of Twitch. Mo is the partner of Thrash. They really do kind of push it, though that's where the bond is the strongest. So this is where we get a much better look at Thrash as a character. He is, naive as a newborn would be, but he is also easily bored. He is very, he is excitement driven. And let's see. What else I'm trying to figure out like the right wording for the personality we've got going on here. He's the hotshot character essentially, where he has like a lot of confidence in himself and just really just gets bored really easily. And that describes Mo too. Mo is in this episode starting to give off sorry vibes, and in the best way, by the way. She's quickly going up as one of the better humans in Transformers because she has that, like rambunctious personality to her, like, the precocious child type thing, but she doesn't reach the annoying point that some of those protags in the past have done. She hits that nice middle ground, and, she's still level-headed too. Like, she's not, like in this episode, she's given the chance to get into trouble, and she turns it down more than once, and she's very insistent on, following the rules in an episode where they are blatantly disregarding the rules. There is a scene where Thrash in vehicle mode wants to see her house, see Mo's room, so he's very slowly driving through the house and driving up the stairs in what I feel like is a much better interpretation of that scene from the live-action Bumblebee movie where Bumblebee does that than what was actually in that live-action scene. Like, that seemed like robot in the house hijinks done the right way. So they get some mischief in. It's fun. But this is a Decepticon episode. So we get another look at Swindle, and it's Swindle doing what Swindle does. Swindling. I know, like, you couldn't have guessed before I said it, could you? He's looking for hardtop, or he's looking for advantages over the Autobots, whichever comes first. And it's established here that, like, hardtop is his brother, by the way. And it didn't hit me until after I, like, finished recording my review of episode 1 and 2, that the reason that Swindle and Hardtop are brothers are because in Cybertron, where Hardtop was a toy-only character, Swindle was the repaint of Hardtop. That's such a deep cut. I love it. I love it. I already love that they were using a Cybertron character that's never appeared in animation before, and let alone to actually make that connection to get us to a very animated style Swindle, who's like a very independent character. Man, yeah, I watched this episode, and yes, I think to myself, like, Derek would love this. Derek would be so into this. But he's doing what he does best. He is manipulating Mo and Thrash in order to get what he wants. He finds an energon field he can't get past, but a human could. So this is where he gets to manipulate these two. And yeah, there's chaos, there's trouble. He tricks them into thinking he's going good, because naive youngsters. It causes a fight at the ranch, the barn, at the farm, which is in itself a really, like, creepy situation where, like, out loud Swindle is trying to profess that, he's just needed help, and then, like, he's whispering to Bumblebee, "It's a nice family you got. I think I'll take him." It's a really good Swindle. It's a really good depiction of Swindle. I really, really like this one. So I'm really happy he got to lead an episode, and I really want to see more of him down the line. And it's a moral of the day episode. Like, obviously, when it looks like they're in the most trouble, that's when the hero shows up. Mo messaged for backup, so Mom came in, Bumblebee came in, Swindle went running, because that's what Swindle's going to be doing. But it is very much this is your place. This is how the family protects each other. This is what it means to be family. Is you don't like following the rules, but you have to, because that's what keeps the family safe, and that is what keeps us together. Especially considering that these two bots are in hiding from Ghost, since they are completely new types of Transformers. The risk here is they don't want to cause too much alarm, and they don't want to raise suspicion and attention, because Ghost is likely to take them away, which is why the rules are so important. So it was one of those, like, hard-learned lesson episodes. It's a very much lesson of the day. I will say, thanks to the inclusion of Swindle, the search for Hardtop, etc., you actually do have much higher stakes than you did in the first episode. So it felt like a well-paced, and it felt like a more satisfying episode as a whole. So yeah, episode 4 definitely hit me a lot better than episode 3. And again, I am still really happy with the direction of this show. So, like I said, we're going to be hitting these in 2 episode batches every video. Sometimes I'll have a lot to say, sometimes not so much. This is House Rules is a pretty standard episode, but it's done in a very effective manner. And it gives Thrash, Mo, and Swindle a really good chance to shine, as well as building this family dynamic. Once this is fully established, this can go into the background, and we're going to start getting into, like, heavier stuff with Optimus and Megatron, Ghost, etc. But early in the series, you got to set things up, and that's what they did here. So that is episode 3 and 4 of Earthrise. Let me know in the comments below what you're thinking of the show so far. I know a lot of you have already watched through the whole thing on Paramount Plus. Keep in mind, not everyone has. Some people are watching it a bit at a time. Some are watching it on Nickelodeon, where you get 1 episode every week. Keep those people in mind while you're commenting. Try not to spoil anything beyond what we are talking about here. So do that for me. And yeah, just let me know what you thought, and I will see you next time. Guys, I am facing the most powerful enemy any YouTuber can face, the algorithm, and I need your help to defeat him. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Every time you do, we attack that algorithm and we drive it back until it can no longer defeat this channel. Thank you very much.